Welcome to My Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to My Asshole Podcast on the Thursday episode. Man, do we got a good, juicy little episode for you guys today. We're excited to get back into haunting Adeline. I know you guys are excited just as much as I am. And we will, just before that though, we will get to our thread. And today's thread, pretty juicy. You know, we always got the juiciest of threads for you, because today's thread is: when did you realize that your partner was not, in fact, the one? Oh, baby. So when did you guys realize that your partner was not the one? Okay. We had a really good girlfriend and boyfriend type relationship, but when shit got real, a long-term commitment, marriage, buying a house, having a baby, appeared on the horizon, we both freaked out and bailed. Catalyst was my mate's wedding towards the end of the relationship, and I was embarrassed at how Larry and drunk she was being. She was annoyed that I was being no fun and wouldn't dance. There was no one else on the dance floor. We're still friends now. My wife is nothing like my ex, and my ex's new partner is nothing like me. Everyone involved made the correct decision. Dang. So when the going got tough and it got real, they was just like, ooh, I don't think I want to be with you. I don't think I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Like, you're fun and all, but you're not rest of my life fun. Like, damn. I mean, thank goodness it was like mutual, because if it wasn't mutual, whoo, that would have been tough. Oh, all right. So when did you realize that your partner was not, in fact, the one? There was a picture she painted of me years ago that hung on our wall. It was beautiful and was like a whole bunch of blue triangles that made out my face, and it's my favorite thing of me that's ever existed. Then one day, after a couple bad years, she got in a relatively speaking small argument with me over something and started freaking out, tore the painting off the wall and destroyed it. The argument was so pointless I couldn't even remember what it was about a week later. I know it sounds dumb, but when she painted that for me at the beginning of our relationship, it meant everything to me. And after multiple awful years, that was when I knew things could never go back, and that painting an image I had of myself and our love and relationship would forever be broken and unfixable. Damn, son. Damn. That's crazy. And it's always like, it's always like the smallest little thing that really ends the relationship, because obviously there's big things that happened before, I'm sure, and it kind of just led up to that. And so it was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing, where it was just like all this stuff had been happening, and then this one tiny little thing just made her go ballistic. Like, damn, man. That sucks. And the fact that she destroyed that thing, she got to a point where she hated you. Like, hated you. For her to go that far, she hated you. Damn, son. Woo! That's crazy. Alright, when did you realize that your partner was, in fact, not the one? When I felt a sense of dread when coming home to her, or when I was at home and she was coming home to me, wondering what trivial thing she would be angry about this time. Damn. Yeah, that's how you know when it's over. When you're like, dude, I don't want to go home. When you get off of work and you're just like, I can go to the bar. Oh, I can go to the park. Oh, I'm just going to sit in my car for like 15 more minutes. You know, like when you are at a point where you don't even want to go home, that's how you know it's over, man. I mean, damn. Why would you kind of torture yourself with that? You know what I mean? Like, why would you torture yourself with something like that? Why not just end it, dude? Just be done. Just be over with it. Like, dude, golly. Some people just love torturing themselves for no reason. It's like, just end it. Just say it's over. I'm done. I can't do this no more. Something. Like, shit. All right. On to the next one. When did you realize that your partner, in fact, was not the one? When she threatened me with a knife. What? And started stabbing the bed because I wouldn't want to drink more with her. Yo, what? She was just like, why don't you want to drink with me anymore? Come on. It's like, oh, babe, I'm trying to start over a new leaf. And she's just like, oh, okay, fine. Grabs a knife and starts swinging it at you and shit. Like, yo. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, you gots to go, baby. I got to run away from you because you're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. Like, that is a woman who is nuts. Like, no. Damn. Oh, that's all bad. All right. When did you realize your partner, in fact, was not the one? She hated when I wasn't with her, and she wasn't happy when I was. That's weird. Why would you be upset when he's with you, but then when he's not, you're pissed off? You know, what in the hell? Because it's like, all right, fine, you're mad. I'll give you your space. And then she's mad because I'm not around. Like, what? Huh? Maybe she was the type that, like, you know, she wanted him around her but not talking to her. Maybe. But then again, it's like, if that's your partner and that's how you're like dealing with that, then it's like, bro, this ain't working out. Wow. That is wild to me. All right. When did you realize that your partner was not, in fact, not the one? All right. When he decided to cheat on me while I was dealing with my brother's recent suicide. Oh, that's not right. My man was just like, oh, she's sad and not giving me some coochie. That's cool. I'm going to go find me some. Damn, bro. That's fucked up. Instead of like supporting his girl and like being there for her, homeboy was just like, nah, I'm good on that. I want some booty. I'm about to go out there and get some booty. Like, damn, dude. Like, bro, she wouldn't have been sad forever, you know? And then with your help and support and you being there and all that kind of stuff, maybe, just maybe, it would have helped things kind of go faster. I don't know. Just saying. Just my 2 cents. Like, damn. All right. When did you realize that your partner was not, in fact, the one? I was going with him to my friend's destination wedding. While getting ready with my friend, I had curled my hair and asked them if it looked good. My gal friend said, oh, you missed a piece right here, and helped me get it done with the rest. He immediately groaned and said, ugh, why'd you tell her? We could have made fun of her together. What? Bro, that's fucked up. Something about his joy at the thought of embarrassing me in front of my friends really just made me realize what a true asshole he was. I broke up with him as soon as we got back home. Bruh, that is fucked up. Homeboy was just like, why did you tell her? I wanted to make fun of her the whole time. Like, come on, man. You got no respect for your girl. Absolutely no respect for your girl at all. No love, no respect, no nothing. This motherfucker was just like, I wanted to embarrass her the entire time at the party. Like, that's crazy. Damn, dude. Some people just... Oh, my God. All right, man. When did you realize that your partner was, in fact, not the one? when I made him a surprise and bought him some gym shorts, and he didn't like them and started to throw a tantrum in my face, telling me like how dumb he looks in the shorts and how he would never wear them at all because look at how stupid they are. He then threw the package box in my face, and that was the moment I knew I had to run. What the fuck? What is up with these dudes? Seriously, what is up with these dudes, man? Your sweet and beautiful girlfriend gets you a gift, and you're acting like a child? Like, what, dude? That is how a child acts. What are you doing? What the fuck, man? That is legitimately how a child acts. Literally, dude, she went out of her way, surprised him, got him a gift, a very thoughtful gift. I mean, man, you know, if my significant other got me something that I would use damn near every day, or yeah, at least when I'd go to the gym or something like that, I'd appreciate that. I'd be like, oh, damn, thanks, babe. I didn't know that I needed that. Because I guarantee you it was a thing where she realized like, oh, dang, this is something that he could use. This is something he could need. And like, come on, man. Damn. Well, y'all out here just dating these children. Dating these children of a men. Oh, that's terrible. All right. When did you realize that your partner was not in fact the one? All right. He screamed at me in public in front of our friends when I beat him at a board game.
Bruh.
The fuck it. What? Come on, man. Is a board game really that serious for you to yell at your girl? Why are you going to yell at your girl for her beating you in a board game? It's a board game, bro. Come on. What is going on, man? This is ridiculous. Are you serious, man? Fucking children, bro. Throwing a tantrum over a board game is crazy. That is absolutely crazy talk. Dude, oh my God. Wow. Just wow. Like, what? Alright, when did you realize that your partner was not in fact the one? When I went to the airport to pick her up, flowers in hand, and stood there until the last of the luggage had been picked up before I realized she hadn't even got on the plane. Oh. Bro, what? That must have been the biggest heartbreak ever. You drive down to the airport and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see my girl. Oh man, this is gonna be so great. I love her so much. Yeah. And then I don't know, you get there and you got flowers in hand. And you're just like, oh, is she there? Oh, is that? No. Oh, that's not her. Okay. Oh, wait. 2 hours go by. All the luggage is gone, and you're just like, she never showed up. Damn. Oh, pour one out for my homie. I would have went home. I'd have been crying the whole way home. I'd have bought a box of donuts and just ate my sorrows away, man. Damn. Oh, I couldn't go through with that. Dude. Oh. All right, when did you realize that your partner, in fact, was not the one? Being single was better than being with him. It hit me all at once like a lightning strike. I'd been so tied up in trying to appease him and trying to get get him to chill the fuck out. Okay. All right. I mean, I wonder why you had to get him to chill out. Was he just like aggressive? Was he like, you know what I mean? Like, was he aggressive? Was he like crazy? You know what I mean? Like, that kind of is like, whoa, hold up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you got to get your man to like chill out, like, what is going on here? What is he doing? Hopefully he wasn't putting his hands on you, because, you know what I mean? If my man was beating on you, whoo-wee, that would be scary. I ain't gonna lie to you, that'd be very scary. Man. All right, when did you realize that your partner was in fact not the one? When I found out that one of my close friends had suddenly died and I burst into tears, to which he said, "What are you insecure about this time?" Yo. Red flag. And when I said I just found out my friend died, he turned around and walked out of the room. The next day, I was talking to his mom about it in the kitchen, and she was comforting me, to which he again said, "Can you stop being insecure?" Nigga, she's not being insecure. What in the world would make you think that she's being insecure when she lost a friend? You know what I mean? Her friend passed away. And you're saying, what is insecure about that? Bro, she's sad. Like, what the fuck, man? She's sad. That is just crazy. Bruh. And his mom practically tore him in half with words. I left him soon after, and I am now in a very happy, healthy relationship with someone who also helps navigate my grief with me. I miss his parents sometimes, though. They were lovely people and deserved a better son than him. That's crazy. Deserved a better son than him is wild. She was just like, them parents were saints, because this man was ridiculous. Golly, bro. That is crazy that he would say that you're insecure over crying over somebody dying, bro. That's wild to me. All right. When did you realize that your partner, in fact, was not the one? We never had an okay day. We had amazing days and awful days. Never just a nice, okay one. Think of always manic or always depressed. No breaks. It was a tough, but I had to break it off. Yeah, that's crazy. Dating somebody where like it's just high and then extremely low and then extremely high and then them people, woo! That's crazy. I don't know how y'all deal with those kind of people. Those are the bipolar motherfuckers that are just off the hinges. You know, damn. Yeah, I don't know how y'all people deal with that. No way. No fucking way on that one. Woo. Good luck to that. And I'm glad you got out of that relationship, because the next person that they're with is, oh man. They're going to have to be tough. They'll probably leave too. I ain't going to lie. They'll probably leave too, because that's a lot. That's a lot to fucking deal with. All right, I'm going to do two more and win this thread. When did you realize that your partner was in fact not the one? He started drinking a 24 case of beer by himself. Damn. What? That's a lot of fucking beer. Would yell at me about God knows what, because he was hammered, passed out on the floor and pissed himself, then act like nothing happened the next day. What a winner. Damn. You really know how to pick them, don't you, girl? Like, bruh. That is... oh, that's all bad. That is all bad. Man, you women love them drunk. Yeah, they love them drunks, though. My goodness. That seems to be a big thing. Like, shoo, y'all love them drunks. Hey, I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's like, what the fuck, dude? 24 case? That's crazy. A 24 case of beer. This dude would drink it by himself. That's wild. That's a lot of fucking beer. I'm surprised that motherfucker didn't go to the hospital. You know, that's a lot of beer, bro. He must have been drinking light beer, because there ain't no way, bro. There ain't no way he's drinking that much. And then at the same time, those are not cheap. You know what I mean? Those are not cheap. That's not just a cheap beer, you know? Like, bruh, come on, man. Those are not a cheap beer. That's wild to me. When did you realize that your partner was, in fact, not the one? I always knew it was way too intensely passionate, almost toxically bound to each other, and it was also extremely anxiety-inducing. Anytime I would bring up something that bothered me, it was an attack, or me being negative. I walked on eggshells and constantly had to rethink my needs and wants to meet theirs, because I was the asshole, so I needed to change, but it never was enough. We never spent time outside of either of our places. No dates, no follow through on any sort of plans, etc. Yeah, see, you guys weren't in a relationship. This was a like fuck buddies situationship, hanging out with each other type deal. I don't think this was a relationship at all, if I'm being honest with you, because there's no way in hell that a relationship, you guys don't go out on dates, you don't leave your house, you guys don't do anything, and you guys are just that toxic and crazy with each other. Nah, man, this was a lust-filled exchange, if I'm being honest with you. This was not a relationship. You guys were not dating at all. You guys were not boyfriend girlfriend at all. No, this was an exchange of just lust and need, if I'm being straight with you. Yeah, dude, this was not a fucking relationship. It is crazy. That is wild for you to even think that this was a relationship. Like, girl, no. You need to get them priorities straight, if I'm being straight with you. Because, hopefully you don't get into something like that again. But, this was a lust exchange, bro. That's crazy. Man, but that's going to be the end of this thread. Oh, my goodness. This thread, it was a lot juicier than I expected it to be, if I'm being honest with you. I did not expect it to be this juicy. I really, really didn't. I was like, whoa. I was very surprised how good this thread was. And man, y'all were in some toxic fucking relationships, and I am here for it. Woo! That is what I built this show on. I'm just saying. Whoa. You guys did not disappoint on this thread. But that's going to be the end of that thread. We're going to hop into announcements. We're going to get through those as quick as possible. And we'll get you right into Haunting Adeline for today. So, patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenarios to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday episodes. Appreciate all of the support that you audio listeners have been showing. The downloads have been awesome. They've been going up and up and up, and I appreciate that so much. February was actually our highest downloaded month, so give you guys a round of applause for that one. Pat yourself on the back, all that good stuff, because that was an awesome milestone to have. So just looking through the analytics, it's just been awesome. I really appreciate all the support. So please keep supporting, man. It helps out a lot. And rate us 5 stars, man. It helps out a lot. It keeps new people coming on in and helps Spotify recommend it to new people. And it is for free, baby. If you want to help out even more on the free 99 side of things, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. I be seeing you, YouTube guys. You guys are doing your thing too. I appreciate that so much. So without further ado, though, we are going to get into Haunting Adeline for today. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to get into Haunting Adeline today. So let's get on over.
Chapter 39. The Diamond. I dig the blade into my skin until I feel a sharp pinch, blood slowly trailing from the wound. Zaid's eyes track it, his eyes alight with fury. The greasy-haired man returns his gun to my mother, a smart-ass grin on his face.
Touché, Diamond.
He tips his chin up to his partner, who's still holding his weapon, to my father.
Grab her.
Then he addresses Zaid and Sibby.
Both of you drop all those weapons and kick them away.
The guy with the baby face approaches me, and I take a big step back. You don't get to touch me. Not until I know you won't hurt any of them. His eyes narrow, but then they flit over my shoulder, and a moment later I feel the danger behind me.
Fuck, Addie, move!
Zaid barks, but it's too late. A gun presses into the back of my head, distracting me long enough for his arm to come around and grab a hold of my knife, flinging it to the side. Concrete fills my bones, my body turning to stone as he wraps his arm around my neck and pulls me back into him, moving his gun to my temple.
You forgot to check the attic.
The new intruder whispers in my ear. He drops his arm from around my throat and slides his hand across my tailbone and down my thighs, checking for any weapons and then throwing them to the floor when he locates them. He squeezes my ass for extra measure, and I can't contain the snarl from slipping free. Oh yeah, he's going to die. Tension radiates from Zaid, his murderous gaze tracking the man's wandering hand. I bet he's imagining all the ways he could remove it from his body, just like he did Arch's. Sibby is still, her eyes bouncing in every direction, probably calculating how quickly she can kill one of them before their gun goes off.
Better be careful,
Zaid murmurs, his eyes boring into the man holding me.
That diamond has sharp edges.
Babyface turns his weapon on Zaid.
Shut the hell up. Both of you get against the wall.
Zaid smirks, raising his hands in mock surrender, but the look in his eyes is deadly. Sibby refuses to budge, though, so the man storms toward her and grabs her by the arm, attempting to haul her there himself. She goes wild, scratching at him and causing a massive scuffle. Hooked on the inside of my sleeve is a pen gun. A handy little weapon Zaid got me. I put it there for a situation exactly like this, deliberately keeping it out of any apparent spots to hide a weapon. It only has a single bullet, but it'll be enough. The chaos distracts all the men enough to slide out the pen gun from my sleeve without any of them noticing. Sweat beads across my hairline, and though adrenaline is running rampant in my system, calmness overtakes me. Hurriedly, I take aim on the greasy-haired man and click the button on the pen, the bullet ripping from the small weapon and through the man's brain, killing him immediately. The utter surprise is enough time for me to knock away the gun from my head, my captor's reflexes delayed as he fires off a shot at my feet, scarcely missing my toes. The bullet ricochets, and I think I hear someone gasp, but I've already turned around and am sending my fist flying into his face. My father is shouting through the tape on his mouth, but I can't look now. My opponent slides a knife from his pocket and swings it at my face. Rearing back just in time, the blade slices through the air within an inch of my nose. Grabbing a hold of his hand wrapped around the handle, I snap it back, his wrist breaking from the force. He cries out, dropping the knife. Before I can land another punch, this one to his throat, his head kicks back. A hole now in the center of his forehead. I turn with wide eyes, finding Zaid tucking away his weapon.
Sorry, baby. He touched your ass, therefore I needed to kill him.
A piercing scream distracts me, drawing my eyes to Sibby, happily stabbing away at the man beneath her, while my dad squirms like a worm on a hook. His stare pinballs back and forth from the psychotic girl at his feet to his wife. My eyes widen when I get a good look at my mother. Her head is drooping, chin tucked into her chest and blood soaking through her shirt. "Oh my God!" I cry, rushing over to her. Zaid reaches her first, pressing his fingers against her throat to feel for a pulse.
She's alive,
He breathes.
but her pulse is faint. She needs a doctor now.
Tears immediately well in my eyes, and panic turns my brain to mush. I open my mouth, limbs frozen and wide eyes locked onto my dying mother.
Adeline.
Zaid barks, and my eyes snap to him.
Focus, baby. I need you to come here and put pressure on the wound.
Finally unlocking my muscles, I do as he says and press both hands against her chest. Crimson bubbles through my fingers, coating my skin within seconds. Distinctly, I see Zaid untying her bonds, and then my dad's. There's a sharp command telling Sibby to stop grinding on the dead man beneath her. Then Zaid talking to Jay through his earpiece, but everything is drowned out after that. There's too much blood rushing in my ears, too much anxiety eating me alive from the inside out. "Mom?" I say shakily. Dad's arms come around her, gently lifting her head and calling out her name. Tears are streaming down his ruddy cheeks, and it's then I realize my own face is wet.
Serena, hey, honey, look at me.
Dad coaxes, but her eyes stay firmly closed.
I need to lift her.
Zaid says.
Don't you touch her.
Dad shouts, going to slap Zaid's arms away.
We need to call an ambulance.
Dad! I exclaim, pulling a hand away to stop him. Stop! He's trying to help.
It will be faster than an ambulance, I promise you.
Zaid assures, staring firmly in my father's eyes. Dad is a rule follower. He goes by the book. And even in his mania, he understands that Zaid isn't taking her to the hospital only because he's faster, but because we've all committed a crime, and he doesn't want them to know. Which means we're not going to a real hospital either. Gritting his teeth, Dad releases Zaid and lets him pick up my mom, her head flopping onto his chest as he stands.
Everyone get in the car. Let's go now, Sibby.
We climb the basement steps, tear through the house, and pile into Zaid's car, all of it a blur. I let Dad sit in the passenger seat while my mom is draped across mine and Sibby's lap. I continue to put pressure on her chest, whispering to her softly to stay alive. Zaid must still have Jay on the line because he says,
Call Teddy and let him know we're on our way. Gunshot wound to the chest. Let me guess. There's some made-up story you have, huh?
Dad snaps from the front seat while Zaid tears out of the driveway and onto the road. He handles the car with ease despite the unnerving speed we're traveling.
Well, no, not really.
Zaid answers, not the least bit perturbed by my dad's anger.
We're not going to the police, and we're going to a surgeon with real experience. We're not going to the hospital?
My father booms, his voice deafening. I flinch, heart pounding. I've told Zaid before that my dad wasn't an integral part of my life. He always lingered in the background. There, but not really. Kind of like Gigi's ghost in Parsons Manor. But there were a few times in my childhood where he raised his voice, and each time it sent birds scattering off their branches, and my back hunching in an attempt to make myself smaller. He's a simple man, but he can also be scary.
No, sir.
Zaid responds casually. Nothing intimidates him, and if I haven't had a close look, I'd think he has balls of fucking steel hanging between his legs.
I don't care who the fuck you are, you better turn this car around and take us to the goddamn hospital,
He yells, his face growing increasingly red, even in the dark of the car.
Raise your voice to me one more fucking time.
Zaid threatens, his voice deepening.
I guarantee you that I can knock your ass out without even swerving this car.
My dad rears back, eyes bugging with shock. Dad? I cut in before my other parent ends up getting shot, my voice soft but stern. I would never let her die, and you know that. Please just trust us. His glare sears through me, but I don't look away, my entire body beginning to shake from the mix of adrenaline, shock, and panic. Scoffing, he turns away, muttering under his breath.
I can't fucking believe this shit, Adeline. What the fuck have you gotten involved in?
I frown. I didn't even do anything, Dad. He turns back to me with incredulity.
You think I didn't see the three of you kill those men in cold blood? The little crazy one.
Don't call me crazy! Sibby screeches from beside me, causing me to flinch, the pitch hurting my ears. I pause, noting how manic she looks right now. Her chest is pumping and her brown eyes are wild, like she's a tiger cornered in a small cage. Dad must see it too, because he trains his glare onto me.
Don't sit here and act like you're the daughter I raised,
he barks.
You just murdered someone.
He was going to kill Mom, I defend. In disbelief, he's lecturing me right now. He's in shock and angry and taking it out on me. He clenches his teeth, baring them at me as he spits.
If she dies, this will be all your fault. That bullet hit her because of you.
His words feel like a bullet of their own, hitting me right in the chest and punching the air out of my lungs. What? I choke out.
When you were fighting with that guy and the gun went off.
He barks, his face reddening. He stares at me like I'm a monster.
The bullet ricocheted and hit your mother.
My mouth opens, speechless. I remember it ricocheting but never saw where it hit, distracted by the man I was fighting with. Wave after wave of guilt slams into me, and fuck, this is my fault. I blink, my vision blurring with a fresh wave of tears. It feels as if my chest is cracking wide open. My heart spilling out right alongside my mother's.
She's not the one that pulled the trigger.
Zaid barks, defending me. Huffing, he turns around and stares out his window, vibrating with fury.
This is your fault too,
he accuses, snidely, directing it toward Zaid.
The both of you. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for your criminal boyfriend, Adeline.
Zaid turns his head to my father, the leather steering wheel groaning beneath his tightened fists, and for a moment, I'm convinced he's going to completely snap it in half.
I think it's best you shut your fucking mouth from now on, or else I will do it for you. As you've made clear, I'm not a good man, and I care very much about how you talk to Addie. That man was holding a goddamn gun to your daughter's head. This is nobody's fault but the people who broke into your home.
Dad meets his stare, words on the tip of his tongue. In the end, he shakes his head and turns to look out the window again, content with where his fingers are pointing. The car falls into a weighted silence, the four of us conflicted for different reasons. I look down at my mom, a sob working up my throat as I stare down at her pale face. My tears drip onto her cheeks, but I don't dare remove my hands from the wound to wipe them away. I'm so sorry, Mom. I don't want to do this life without you. So stay with me, okay? Try as I might, my PTSD is beginning to resurface as Zaid whips us into a driveway within 20 minutes, driving up to a wooden cabin with a warm yellow glow emitting from the windows. I recognize this cabin, barely. Zaid brought me here right after he found me, and I hardly remember a thing about this place or Teddy. Just that both the house and the doctor were warm and inviting, opposite to the memories of a different doctor that are currently sending my blood pressure through the roof. "This is Teddy's house?" I ask, my hands numb. Flashbacks of waking up in a makeshift hospital, an old man with pale blue eyes and a deranged smile beneath his bushy mustache leaning over me, asking me to come with him. My heart pumps wildly, and it feels like it's cracking my ribcage from the force. The second the car comes to a stop, Sibby is scrambling out of the car as if she was stuck underwater with no air. She storms off somewhere, muttering about having to leave her henchmen behind. None of us have the mental capacity to worry about her in this second.
Yes, I know you might not remember much, but his name is Teddy Angler, and his son is Tanner. They're good friends of mine.
He answers, shutting the car off and hurrying to the back door.
Keep the pressure on her chest.
Zaid instructs. Quickly and carefully he slides Mom out of my lap, cradling her against his chest while I keep my hands firmly planted on the wound. Together, we rush up to the front door just as it opens. 2 men usher us in, Dad close behind. The warmth and comfort of the house are familiar, yet still shocking to my system. I recognize both men. The elder one is Teddy, and the younger one, though still in his 40s at least, is Tanner. They lead us down the hallway straight ahead and into a room with a hospital bed, IV pole, and several other machines. Panic resurfaces, and I'm no longer standing in Teddy Angler's hospital room, but Dr. Garrison's. He's standing before me, pleading with me to come with him, a crazed look in his milky blue eyes. Half of his head is gone, blown off from Rio's bullet, and his shredded brains exposed. No. I don't want to go. I don't want to.
Adeline!
Zaid calls roughly, shaking me until Dr. Garrison fades, replaced by concerned yin-yang eyes.
You're here with me, little mouse. No one is going to take you from me.
I blink, vision blurred and chest tight with panic. "I'm sorry," I whisper, frustration beginning to filter in alongside the million other fucking emotions I can hardly contain.
Don't be, baby. Come sit down and let them operate. Your mom is going to make it, okay?
"Is that what Teddy said?" I ask, peeking around Zaid's shoulder. But I can't see much behind Teddy's larger stature and Tanner on the other side. Dad sits in the corner of the room, staring at Mom with a pinched expression.
He hasn't said much, which is a good thing. If he's operating, then there's a chance.
Nodding my head, I let him lead me back out into a small living room filled with green and navy blue plaid couches, a bearskin rug, and a deer head mounted above the brown fireplace. A fire raging within. The floor, walls, and furniture are made up of burnished wood, giving the house a homey, relaxed feel. I collapse onto the couch and start to drop my head in my hands, but immediately jerk away, reminded that they're covered in dried blood. I glance around, hoping that I'm not ruining Teddy's couch, and sit on the floor instead. Then I remember Sibby is still absent, and my head is swiveling all around. "Where did Sibby go?" I question, wiping the snot leaking from my nose. Honestly, of all things, embarrassment is low on the list of things I should be feeling. And something tells me Zaid has seen me in far more ridiculous situations while stalking me, so snot bubbles are the least of my concern. Zaid sits next to me, pulling me into his chest and cocooning me in his arms. As nice as it feels, I'm incapable of relaxing. Thousands of bugs are crawling beneath the surface of my skin, filling my skull with the buzz of their wings.
I'll check on her in a bit. There wasn't room in the car for her henchmen, and they stayed behind. I think it's freaking her out. They weren't there when she was taken to the mental facility, and she probably has some sort of separation anxiety now.
I nod my head. Her henchmen are as real to her as Zaid is sitting next to me. It's not as easy as just making them go poof or conjuring them before her whenever she wants. She sees them as real people, so she has to make sense of it when they do appear. Eventually, they'll come back to her, and she'll probably see 2 men dressed as monsters walking up the driveway toward her. "He was right," I whisper. "It was my fault she was shot."
You didn't fire off the gun, nor did you personally aim that bullet at your mother. It was not your fault. I
remove myself from his arms, feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. It doesn't matter that I didn't pull the trigger. I still caused it when I pushed his arm down. Sensing my inner turmoil, Zaid rolls his neck, cracking the muscles. Sitting forward, he rests his elbows on his spread knees and links his hands together. My eyes lock onto them, tracing the veins running through them. Those hands have killed so many and have protected many too. How does he compartmentalize his sins from his good deeds? If you were me, would you feel guilty? I question, my voice hoarse from the tears. He casts his stare down, contemplating that.
You've seen me shoulder responsibility for a death I didn't cause. When I took down a ring and that little girl was shot and killed right before I got into the building. Or when you were kidnapped when I was supposed to be protecting you. It's hard not to take it fucking personally. Feeling that weight is what makes you human. But there's a difference between feeling another's pain and blaming yourself because someone else hurt them.
He lifts his gaze, the intensity burning his eyes, searing me from the inside out.
The rose carved into my chest is proof that it's never that simple. Sometimes I cling to that guilt because I don't feel so far gone. But that doesn't mean I won't remind you every day that the blame you shoulder isn't worthy of you.
I close my eyes, a weak attempt to hold back another wave of tears. A sob works its way out of my throat, and I cover my mouth to contain it, but that's not any more effective. She was trying to build a relationship with me. I blither. And I was being difficult about it. Zaid grabs my hand and pulls me into him, and though I feel undeserving of the comfort, I take it anyway, allowing it to soak into my bones while I cry into his chest. I've taken pleasure in killing before, but that doesn't mean I live without a heart. And all I can think right now is how peaceful it must feel to be empty.
Addie, wake up.
A hand softly jerks my arm, tugging me out of a restless sleep. I crack open my bleary eyes, dry and irritated from the tears. Is she okay? I ask instantly, not even fully awake yet. Looking around to see my tired father sitting on the other couch, his face set in a frown. Zaid, Teddy, and Tanner stand before me, and I feel a tad like they're evaluating a patient with the way they're staring at me. Teddy and his son look nearly identical, both with soft green eyes, laugh lines, and square jawlines. The only difference is that Teddy has significantly grayer hair and more wrinkles. Unlike Dr. Garrison, his presence is soothing, despite the words coming from his mouth.
She's not out of the woods yet,
Teddy answers, gently.
The bullet just barely missed her heart, but thankfully it went clean through and missed vital organs. She lost a lot of blood, and she's still in danger of infection. She's going to be out for some time, but I want you all to know you're more than welcome to stay here.
He explains, casting a look at Dad. I nod, though I find little relief. She's alive, but that could easily change. Do I need to give her blood or something? I rasp, my throat just as dry as my eyes.
That's okay, sweetheart. Your father is a match and kindly provided some. And I also have some bags of O-negative stored if I should need it.
Nodding again, I stand. Can I see her?
Of course.
He acquiesces, softly, lifting his arm to direct me forward.
I'm going to check on Sibby,
Zaid says, pointing over his shoulder. Frowning, I ask, how long has it been? I don't remember how long I cried for until I eventually fell asleep in Zaid's arms.
Only about 3 hours. She's still sitting outside on the doorstep waiting for her henchman.
Nodding, I turn and head for the room, heart in my throat. And when I open the door and see her lying there so still and pale, I nearly choke on it. The machine next to her beeps, her heart rate steady for now. There's a chair beside her already, assumingly where my dad was sitting. He stayed in the room with her the entire time. And I feel a little guilty for that too. I should have stayed with them. But even now, being in here is threatening to send me back into that place with Dr. Garrison. I slide my hands through my hair, gripping the strands tightly in an effort to ground me, to keep me present. I'm safe. Zaid is right outside, and there isn't an evil doctor trying to kidnap me. Blowing out a breath, I sit in the recliner and grab my mother's hand. It's cool to the touch, but she feels alive. Not cold and stiff like a corpse, which brings me a small amount of comfort. You want to know what really fucking sucks? I begin softly. When I came home, There were a few times you had asked me to talk about what I went through, and I could never find the words to describe the terror of waking up to men holding you hostage, threatening to kill you. The unknown, if you're going to live or die. I told you that you wouldn't understand. But I suppose you know what that feels like now, huh? And then you'd try to explain to me the terror you felt when I was gone and not knowing whether I would live or die. And you said I'd never understand that either, but that's also not true anymore, is it? My eyes begin to burn again, and I release her hand to rub at them with the heels of my palms, silently threatening myself to keep it together. I'm tired of crying. It's fucking exhausting. Once I feel like I have it somewhat together, I drop them and grab her hand again. I'm holding your hand, but you're still gone. And I don't know whether you're ever going to wake up. So I feel it now, and that just really fucking sucks. I sniff, rubbing the pad of my thumb against her hand, not sure if I'm comforting her or myself at this point. Dad hates me now, too. So, there's that, I whisper. I've shacked up with a criminal. I sputter out a weak laugh. I'm a criminal, and I suppose that might be the one thing Zaid is responsible for, turning me into a trained killer. But you know what? I like it. I like being able to protect myself now, and I like that I don't feel so weak anymore. Does that make me a bad person? I pause, frowning. Don't answer that. You're going to ask me to stop. And you're going to tell me you want the old Addie back. But she's gone, Mom. And I know Dad disapproves of the new version of me, but I hope one day you both will relearn to love who I've become. A single tear breaks free, and I curse the drop for betraying me. I quickly wipe it away, sniffling again. I'll understand if you can't. Sometimes I struggle with loving myself, too. But you know the one person who will always love me unconditionally? It's my criminal boyfriend. And don't you think that's just fucking admirable? I smile without humor. I think it's only fair if we try, though. You decided that when I came home, I was worth loving as a broken shell of a person. I think you can learn to love me as someone who is fierce and strong, right? So now, I want you to come home. And whatever version of yourself you wake up to be, and whatever version you grow into, I'll love you too. June 28th, 2022. I've always been pretty indifferent toward my dad. Growing up, he didn't play with me or even really talk to me. My mom made all the decisions when it came to how to parent me. He never really seemed bothered by me, but not interested either. I think I stopped giving a shit by the time I was 5 or so. The last thing I feel now is indifference. If I'm being honest, I think I kind of hate him. Zaid had teased me before about having daddy issues, and I never really felt that applied to me. But I suppose it does now. Because I fucking hate him right now. He won't let me see Mom. He gave 0 shits about my entire life, but now he suddenly cares what I'm doing with my life. Now he cares that I'm not on the straight and narrow and has the nerve to act like he didn't raise me that way. He didn't fucking raise me at all. Calling wasn't working, so I went to their house today and was promptly locked out. It was also the first time I drove since my car accident, and I cried the entire way home. I'm surprised I didn't get into another. That would have sucked considering I stole Zaid's car. I wasn't ready to get in mine yet and see that ketchup stain missing. Chapter 40. The Diamond. Let me talk to her, I demand through the phone, plunging my trembling hand through my hair.
Addie, I'm tired of having this conversation. It's best you give your mother some space for now.
Dad answers, sounding exhausted. Then let's stop having it, I shout. We've only been talking for 1 fucking minute, and it's his own fault when he won't give the phone to my mother. I've tried every day since she's been home, and he won't give in. I even went as far as driving there, but he wouldn't let me in. Teddy kept her for over a week, monitoring her and slowly nursing her back to health. She was out cold nearly the entire time, and the few times she did wake, I don't think she has much recollection of. She was mainly confused and disoriented, and in a lot of pain. Dad, Zayd, and I stayed by her side the entire week while Sibby went home with her henchmen. It took them 4 hours to reappear, and the second they did, she was back to her old self. I'm sure they had lots of orgies while we were gone. Once Teddy felt Mom was stable and could recover at home, Zayd drove us back to their house. His team took care of the bodies and even went as far as restoring the house to its former state. I think Dad was shaken when he walked in, and it looked as if nothing ever happened. He let Zayd and I help get Mom settled in their bed and then promptly kicked us out. That was 5 days ago, and he still won't let me see or talk to her. My only reprieve is he'll let Daya in, thinking she's removed from my felon life or something. But now I'm unsure if he'll even allow that anymore. Why? Did she say that herself, or is that a decision you're making?
I know what's best for my fucking wife.
He snaps, his anger rising, but I don't shrink away like I normally would have. I told Mom that version of myself was gone, and it was the truth. So, what you're saying is that I'm not good for her? I conclude, my voice shaking with anger. My fist curls, and the urge to send it flying into the wall nearly overcomes me.
You and that boyfriend of yours.
Dad corrects.
I've agreed not to go to the police about this entire situation, but that doesn't mean I will allow you both to be in her life if this is what will happen. If you want to fuck off and become a criminal, fine, but don't involve us in it.
The phone clicks off a second later, and I erupt. Letting out a frustrated scream, I send my phone flying across the room right as Zayd steps through the door. He stills, eyes tracking the phone as it crashes into the stone wall and crumples to the floor in pieces.
Do you want me to go kidnap her?
He offers. I snap my head to him, my rage deepening. He's not letting me see her because we're criminals, and your solution is to commit another crime?
Well, when you put it like that.
Growling, I whip away from him and storm towards the balcony, needing to get away. The warm wind whips through my hair the second I step out, sending the strands flying around my face. It only embodies how I feel, like Medusa with a crown of angry snakes. It's not fair, but it's becoming harder and harder to look at Zayd and not blame him too. I'm beginning to revert back to that bitter, hateful part of myself that was convinced my life wouldn't be such a goddamn shit show if Zayd didn't come barreling into it. And, like Medusa, because I'm wrongly being punished, I want to punish everyone else in retaliation. I feel Zayd behind me before I hear him, always so silent, always sneaking up on me.
Your dad is being an asshole, Addie, but she's going to recover, and he won't be able to keep her from you.
Zayd assures quietly. What if he gets into her head by then, convinces her I'm bad for her, and then she decides that I'm not worth loving after all? And they will always feel that way while I'm with Zayd. They will always see him as a bad choice, and as long as I'm with him, they won't allow me into their lives. Just when I get the chance to have a real relationship with my mom, it's ripped away from me. It kind of feels like condensing my entire childhood into one day and making me relive it. Maybe you should leave, I mutter. A beat passes before he drawls.
You want to repeat that for me, little mouse?
Clenching my teeth, I bark. You need to leave. I told my mother that Zayd would always love me unconditionally, but that love is what almost got her killed. He said it himself. Claire wants me so goddamn badly because of him, because of how much I mean to him. Accepting his love was hard, but I learned to be okay with it when I was the only one in danger. Now, I don't know if that's the case anymore. My parents may be assholes, but are their lives worth sacrificing for this shit? I keep my eyes pinned to the water sparkling in the afternoon glow, but his silence is so powerful. It invades all 5 of my senses. All 6 of them, if I'm being honest, because I can feel how enraged he is.
You think that's going to solve all your problems, don't you?
He chuckles. I whip around. Maybe it would. You can kill Claire and all her minions, and I will finally be able to live in peace. He cocks a brow, and his eyes have never suited him better until this moment. One so ice-cold, and the other so full of darkness, 2 dangerous parts of him reflecting onto me.
This is getting old, Adeline.
I rear back. Why? Are you mad that you can't make me obsess over you to the point where I need you by my side every fucking second of the day? Or because you can't...
What, baby? I can't what? Make you love me? Care about me? Or is it that I make you feel all those things when you don't want to?
He gets in my face, anger tightening his scars and amplifying the icy darkness in those yin-yang eyes. Have you ever come face to face with a pissed-off bear? Looked into the eyes of the beast as it seethes? Most don't live to talk about it.
You think I'm going to believe your little lies, as if I possess an ounce of insecurity?
He ends that last statement with a laugh, and it grinds against my nerves. I feel my face brighten while my eyes darken. He's laughing at me, and I want to hurt him. Not with my fists, but with my words. I want him to hate me, so he will understand what it feels like to hate someone so much, yet still crave them. For once, I want him to feel what I fucking felt when he forced his way into my life. No, but it will bother you when you find that all your efforts have been wasted. His smile slips, and I feel my first dose of victory. I take a step into him, enjoying the way he stiffens. All that time spent using my body against me in the name of love, only to never make me love you at all. This time, when he smiles, there isn't an ounce of amusement. It's fierce and speaks of a man held with a rope around his neck, faced with the decision to hang himself and save his loved one from the same fate, or throw her to the gallows instead. Is he going to hurt me back in order to protect himself, or is he going to stand here and take it?
Oh?
He challenges.
Professing your love and begging me to carve a rose in your chest was for fun?
He bares his teeth, and my lungs constrict.
Did you get so good at writing books that you don't know the difference between reality and your imagination anymore?
I narrow my eyes. Stockholm Syndrome is real. A human reaction to someone constantly threatened. It makes sense to trick our brains into thinking we love the person. If only it makes it easier to tolerate them. He cocks a brow, unimpressed, and that act is still just as heart-stopping as it's always been.
Does this feel good? Does it feel good to punish me for something your father is doing?
He asks, his deep voice merely a whisper. That small dose of victory turns into a pool, and then a flood as pain lances across his eyes. Does he hate me yet? Does he feel what real love feels like? You can't truly love someone if you've never hated them. Two sides to a double-edged sword, and they both cut fucking deep. It feels like I'm finally setting myself free. I spit. He nods slowly, his piercing gaze assessing.
And you said you didn't have daddy issues.
He muses, stepping away from me. It makes my heart skip seeing him pull away. The flood of victory has made its wave through my body, and now the tide is pulling it back, and I'm beginning to feel the ramifications. He takes another step away and angles his body towards the doors. A crater has formed, filling with an ocean that divides us. It's funny how this is the furthest I've felt from him, even when hundreds of miles separated us. A seed of panic sprouts, but maybe that's just adrenaline. Because the way Zaid peers at me now, it looks as if he's going to choose himself. He's going to lash out, and I will be the one left hanging.
Please, baby, run free then. Show me how far you get before you realize you're only running from yourself. How long will you last when I possess everything that gives you life?
My chest tightens, but I laugh, mocking him as he mocks me. You possess nothing but a demon in your body. He ignores me.
Your heart, your soul, and your very breath. Run, little mouse. This time no one will be chasing you.
His last words choke me. And then he walks through my room and out of the door, softly closing it behind him. Shit. I suck in a breath, but only wheeze when my lungs refuse to work. Shit. I turn and work to keep breathing, but it feels as if I'm tightening my lungs further, reducing them to tiny metal wires that slice through my insides with every inhale. Stop it, Addie. This is the right decision. Is it, though? You're protecting your family. Then why does it feel like I've alienated my very soul from my body, pushed it out as if it didn't belong there? You don't need him to survive, Addie. No, I don't. I've proven that to be true during the months where I was forced to do nothing but survive. I can live without Zaid, but that doesn't mean it won't fucking hurt. That doesn't mean I won't live without a large piece of myself missing, like losing a limb. I'd always feel him, even when he's no longer a part of me. Does that make me weak, dependent, or just someone madly in love? Shit. I paced the balcony, panic forcing my body into a malfunctioning state. Back and forth, screaming at myself to run after him, and fear turning my body right back around. He could reject me. I was callous and a complete asshole when he's shredded the world apart to get back to me. And what do? Push him away. Fuck. I went from blaming myself to blaming the one person who's done everything for me. I freeze for a beat and then drop into a crouch, feeling like a bulldozer just ran through me. Addie, you fucking idiot, I growled to myself. My parents would have been kidnapped and possibly tortured if it wasn't for him. He knew Claire was going to pull something, checked on them to make sure they were safe, and got us up and over there before they could take them. Who knows what Claire would have done to them? I don't believe for a second that they wouldn't have been left unharmed. Fuck, he saved them, just like he's done for me and for hundreds of others. Such an idiot. Finally, my gears shift into autopilot and I race towards the door. It'll be like those cheesy romance movies, I assure myself. I'll swing open the door and he'll be standing on the other side, waiting for me because he knew damn well that I was bluffing. But when I open the door, heart on my sleeve and an apology on my tongue, I find that he's not waiting for me at all. He's gone. I deflate, and my hope fizzles like helium out of a tired balloon. No, fuck this. The last thing Zaid and I are in is a Hallmark movie. I storm out of the room, down the hallway, and head towards the steps. My feet carry me down too quickly, and in my rush, I nearly faceplant the checkered tiling, the handrail scarcely saving me. I come 2 inches from having to confront Zaid with my front teeth chipped, and that would have been entirely embarrassing. Like instant karma shit that only God would hex me with. The front door obnoxiously bangs against the stopper, and before I can get wiped out by rebounding wood that probably weighs more than I do, I take off down the porch. There, just a hint of Zaid's back remains before he completely disappears in the thicket of trees. Hey! I shout, hurrying after him. I get close enough to see his chin tip over his shoulder, only a moment before he takes off into a sprint. I gasp, affronted by the pure audacity of this man. Oh, you asshole! You deserved that. Shut up, I mutter to myself. I take off after him, and I just know he's getting a sick enjoyment out of reversing the roles and making me chase after him. He's giving me a spoonful of my own medicine, and it tastes like ass. I've gotten faster with all the running I've done in the past several months, and my endurance has strengthened. But I'm still no match for Zaid. His long legs eat up the dirt ground faster than mine, and I become frustrated as the distance between us grows. Soon he disappears altogether, and I slow to a stop, panting heavily and on the verge of tears. I spin in circles but quickly put a stop to that when I only serve to make myself dizzy. For several minutes, I wallow in my misery while I catch my breath. Tears line the edges of my eyes, and the only person I have to blame is myself. I may be a little broken right now, but that doesn't excuse my behavior toward Zaid. Just as I turn to find my way back to Parsons Manor, a twig cracks from behind me. An ominous feeling rises the hairs on the back of my neck, and my stomach drops. Whirling around, a startled yelp rips from my throat when Zaid is right there. Shock paralyzes me, and before I can muster a word, he's gripping me by the throat, lifting me and slamming me into a tree right beside me. I cry out, disoriented and now breathless as he leeches the oxygen from my lungs, squeezing until I'm sure he's going to snap my neck. Despite my nails clawing at his hand, he doesn't relent. Instead, he lifts me higher. And out of desperation, I kick up my legs and curl them around his waist, bowing my back to alleviate some of the pressure. My body nearly goes through the movements to dislodge his hand from my throat, but I stop myself. Whatever he has to say, whatever he plans to do, I deserve it. Frankly, I don't want to escape him. He's breathing heavily, and even in the throes of panic, I know it's purely from excitement. His mouth strays only an inch from mine, his minty toothpaste mingling with leather, spice, and a hint of smoke. The intoxicating aromas clouding my senses. Gradually, his hand tightens, and instinct begins to take over. I thrash against him, but he only presses deeper into me.
What's wrong, baby? Didn't get enough the first time and came back for more.
I slap at him, my vision beginning to blacken, and I don't need a mirror to see that my face is tomato red, and seconds away from turning purple. Finally, his grip loosens and I greedily suck in air, though he doesn't remove his hand. Fucking dickhead! I choke out. And yes, I see the hypocrisy, but fuck him anyway. He scarcely gives me a moment to breathe, then he's threatening to rob me of air once more. His grip isn't as tight, leaving a kernel of space in my windpipe that allows me to inhale.
Come on, little mouse, you know I'll only answer to 2 names.
He taunts.
Let me hear you say my name. It sounds so much sweeter when you can't breathe.
Zaid. I growl, but he shakes his head.
Uh-huh.
He tisks, voice dipped in sweet venom.
I want you to call me by my other name, Adeline.
Tears of frustration pool in my eyes, one breaking free and slipping past my lashes. He tracks the droplet, a savage grin ghosting across his lips, before the tip of his tongue darts out and licks the salty water from my face. I clench my teeth, pride rising, fueled by anger for this insufferable man. When Zaid and I are happy, it's easy to forget how much he enjoys seeing me suffer. And I wonder if this is why I lash out thoughtlessly. Maybe a part of me likes the way he makes me suffer too. He drifts the tip of his tongue over the side of my cheek into my ear, leaving a wet trail in his wake, before dark whispers warm my skin instead.
If you make me tell you again, I will strap you to this tree until the birds are ready to eat.
God! I bite out, my voice hoarse from the strain. Are you happy now? He bares his teeth, and I realize that the fear he instills in me will likely eat me alive before the birds ever could.
Not even fucking close.
He hisses.
I think I quite like the idea of tying you to this tree, the birds feasting on the helpless little mouse.
Terror glides down my constricted throat and low into my stomach, morphing into an inebriating feeling that burns and burns until my eyes droop into a half-lidded state. Punish me, then. I deserve it. I hiss. I want him to. As long as he's here, touching me, hurting me. It's better than him being another ghost haunting Parsons Manor. Or is the kitty cat too scared of the mouse? He tips his head back, a laugh working its way from his throat and sending chills down my spine. Evil. It was an evil laugh, and my excitement ramps up. He suddenly drops me and steps away, barely giving me time to catch myself. Just as I straighten, he tips up his chin.
Have you come here to ask for forgiveness?
Yes, I whisper.
Undress.
He orders, cutting off my apology. Biting back a retort, I listen and tear the articles of clothing from my body until I'm naked. It's hot outside, yet I shiver beneath his blazing eyes. My nipples harden beneath his wandering gaze, causing his nostrils to flare, suppressing the urge to cover myself. I lean back against the tree, another shiver racking my body from the rough bark. Licking his lips, he gazes at me like a hawk would a mouse, predatory and full of intention. Slowly, his long fingers undo the buckle on his belt before jerking it out from the loops of his black jeans. A rock forms in my throat, but I don't bother swallowing it down because I know it'll come right back up, especially as he strides towards me and then behind the tree. The trunk isn't large by any means, so just as I go to turn my head, his hand comes up from behind me and grips my jaw, forcing it straight.
Face forward, Adeline.
He orders, his deep voice full of warning. His hand retreats and my heart pounds erratically, causing my breathing to hiccup. The weight of anticipation is suffocating, and when I finally see his belt come into view, I can't help but flinch away. It loops across my throat and around the trunk before it tightens, the leather groaning from the force. My eyes bulge, my precious air supply cutting off for the 3rd time as he refastens the buckle. The fucker used his belt to pin me to the tree. He comes out from behind me and faces me once more, his devilish gaze taking in his masterpiece. You're fucked in the head, I tell him, and then cough as the leather digs into my skin. He hums at me.
You use pretty words as sharp knives, and I think you've become attached to seeing me scarred. Do they make your pussy wet, baby?
I raise my chin, deciding to take a different route and go with the truth for once. Yes, I admit, as firmly as I can manage. He stares at me, his mismatched pools as intense as the cold wind ravaging my body. The pale scar cutting through his wide eye stands out proudly amongst the otherwise smooth flesh. It hurts to look at him. His gaze thins, and he approaches me until I can feel the blissful heat radiating from his body. "I didn't mean what I said," I whisper before he can say whatever words are resting on his tongue. "I'm sorry." He pauses, and my discomfort grows as his gaze intensifies.
I've given you nothing but honesty, and you continue to give me lies. Is this another attempt to bring me back in just to kick me out again?
I swallow, my throat drier than the bark digging into my back. "No," I rasp, and my lip trembles from the shame burning the backs of my eyes. "You're right. There's no excuse for what I said. I don't want you to leave, and I do love you."
So you've said,
he murmurs. He cocks his head and muses aloud.
Yet you tried to take it back. You gave me something precious and then tried to rip it away.
I shake my head, desperation clogging my throat. "I won't do that ever again," I swear, another tear burning a trail down my cold cheek. It snags his attention, and I watch his eyes zero in on it, tracking it until it drips from my chin. When he looks at me once more, it hits me that this isn't just a punishment. This will be a test to prove my love, to prove that I mean it when I say it.
You cut me because you know I'll gladly bleed for you, so now I want to see you bleed for me.
I open my mouth, prepared to tell him that I already have, but before I can, he bends and grabs a long, gnarled twig off the ground. Fisting it in his hand, whatever I was going to say somersaults right back down my throat, and my heart stalls in my chest. "What are you going to do?" I ask hesitantly, eyeing the branch like he's holding a gun. "Scratch that. Give me the gun. I've survived that before." He responds to my question by rearing his arm back and slapping me across the thigh with it. For a blissful second, I'm too shocked to feel anything, but then the sharp, piercing pain comes racing in, and all I can do is let out a strangled scream. I look down at my thigh in disbelief, an angry red welt already protruding from my skin. My chest heaves, watching a line of blood bead from the wound before trailing down my thigh. I look up at him, mouth parted, eyes wide, and utter bewilderment on my face. "You fucking whipped me!" I gasp, incapable of saying anything other than the obvious. He crouches down, looking closely at the tiny trickles of blood staining my thigh. Lifting his hand, his fingers feather across the wound, and I hiss in response. He looks up at me through thick, black lashes, and if I weren't strapped to a tree, I'd collapse from the raw intensity on his face.
Are you not willing to bleed for me?
I bite my trembling lip. I cut him deep, an invisible wound that will scar him as permanently as the marks on his body. Some days, when I'm lost in my own head, I forget how intensely Zaid loves. "Giving my heart to you was something I prayed I'd never do," I whisper. "But you've always been a god, and I didn't realize my pleas were going straight into your hands. Yet they always went unanswered." Seeing him now, kneeling before me, I understand why. The day I handed over my love to him was the first time a god fell to his knees, bowed his head, and prayed. He prayed because I gave him the one thing he could never control, and he never wanted to lose it. My vision blurs, and I struggle to keep the tears at bay. "I'll bleed for you, Zaid. I'll always bleed for you." His eyes shudder, and he drops his gaze before I can decipher the emotion in them. Slowly he stands, and by the time he raises his lids, I see nothing but my own reflection. I brace myself, but it does little to prepare for the lightning searing across my flesh when the twig lands on my stomach. Breathing through the pain, I plead, "Let me see your scars." Surprisingly, he grants me that small favor and removes his hoodie from his head. I soak in his naked torso and release a shaky exhale. Where he hit me is almost precisely the same place as the scar on his stomach. Through blurred vision, I watch him whip out his arm, landing another strike to mirror his chest wound, reopening the unhealed rose over my heart. I told him to carve that rose into my skin because I wanted to bear the pain we endured together. When he lashes out again, replicating yet another mark, I realize he's giving his pain to me, sharing it with me. Steadily, The burn from each wound transcends until I feel every beat of agony in the apex of my thighs. Blood covers my body, painting my flesh in a mosaic of pain and pleasure. With each strike, my clit throbs and I grow wetter and hotter. I'm panting by the time he drops the twig, my legs trembling and threatening to give beneath me. His own chest heaves and his low-slung jeans only define how hard he is. A deep rumble sounds from his throat as his gaze eats up the art piece he's created on my body. My skin is the canvas to release his pain on, and I'm happy to accept each angry stroke.
I've only ever wanted to love you, but I think hating you tastes just as bittersweet.
Please, I whisper, incapable of uttering anything else. I'm in his arms a moment later, the belt around my throat, seizing my breath. But I don't care, hardly notice, when all I can feel is the slide of his skin against mine. He grabs the belt and lifts me higher in his arms, raising the leather strap with me to accommodate my new position. My legs wrap tightly around his waist and I roll my hips, shuddering from the feel of his hard length, sliding against my pussy. The roughness of his jeans only heightening the pleasure. His hands skate over the marks, eliciting a sharp hiss, a sound quickly swallowed by his lips. My back arches, bliss racing up my spine as he devours me, his tongue tracing the seam of my lips, before plunging through, exploring my mouth as his hands do my body. Every touch aches, though it feeds the growing wildfire raging beneath my skin. Desperately, I tear at his jeans, the zipper barely releasing before his cock tears from the confines. My hand wraps around his length, drawing a shudder from him that has nothing to do with the wind still ravaging Seattle. He's hot to the touch and so fucking hard that I feel a pinch of uneasiness, but the dark god doesn't care if I falter. He grabs the backs of my knees and forces my legs apart, freeing him from my hold. Kneeling before me, he slings each of my legs over his shoulders and drags his mouth against my inner thigh. I suck in a breath when his lips skate close to a welt, the pain flaring brightly as his teeth sink into my flesh. Blood drops down between his teeth, and I cry out as the agony begins to overwhelm me. Finally, he releases me, a perfect bite mark imprinted next to the welt, dotted with saliva.
I think I could eat you alive, Adeline. Consume every bit of you while you scream beneath me, and even in death you would still torture me. I would die of starvation because nothing else would compare to you.
You will never be able to live without me, Zaid. I breathe. If you're my death, then I'm your fucking lifeline. He grins humorously, the tilt of his lips dangerous as he drags them up my thigh and towards my aching pussy. I'm drenched, and the slightest touch of his tongue will send me soaring.
You are.
He agrees.
You're the only thing I need to survive. I will follow you into the afterlife, little mouse, and then how will you escape me? There's nowhere to run after you've been dragged to hell.
His mouth closes over my clit before I can think to respond. My head kicks back from the explosive pleasure that erupts beneath his skilled tongue. I cry out, my eyes rolling as he works me with such precision. It's as if I'm nothing more than a violin that sings for him when he strokes me just like that. The way I scream for him could be nothing short of art. Just as he promised, he devours me, biting and sucking until I'm pleading for mercy, then licking me until no other words exist but his name on my tongue. My thighs clench around his head while I mindlessly buck against him. I'm climbing a mountain, and the higher I get, the harder it is to breathe. What a dirty little trick, to fool me into danger. By the time I reach the peak, there will be no air left, and that climb will have only been for heaven. His hands brush against my battered thighs, smearing crimson into my skin and reawakening the sharp pain. It slams into me, sending my body plummeting off that mountain and my soul into paradise. A scream tears through my constricted throat, hoarse and strained as I grind against him, trapping him between my thighs and robbing him of oxygen. Prying my legs apart, he grips me under my knees and lifts me a little higher as he stands, relieving some of the pressure on my throat. I place my hands on his broad shoulders, balancing myself. My arousal glosses his wide lips, chin, and down the column of his neck. Slowly, he swipes out his tongue, collecting it like a poor man tasting a delicacy for the first time. He hums, pleased by the taste of me. My stomach tightens in response to the near-crazed look in his eyes. Molding his warm body against me, I shudder from the feel of his skin pressed into mine. I could never deny how good Zaid feels, even when I was desperate to.
Wrap your legs around me.
He orders roughly, his tone hushed. He removes his arms from beneath my thighs, and I circle them tightly around his waist. One hand glides up the outside of my thigh, while he anchors the other on the tree beside my head, supporting our weight. His head is bent down, nose gliding along the column of my neck.
I'm too addicted to you to ever let you go,
he murmurs. My eyes flutter closed, another dose of relief hitting me straight in the heart.
but I don't know how to make you stay.
He continues, his tone darkening, my brows pinch, feeling a sense of looming danger on the horizon. I will. His chin tips up until his mouth is right by my ear.
I don't believe you,
He whispers, cutting me off. He said the same thing to me only a couple of weeks ago, and I had asked him to carve a rose into my chest to prove my love. But then I tried to take it away, and I don't know how I'm going to prove myself again. My heart pounds, and I scramble for a way to convince him. I don't exactly have a great track record, I know that. Pushing Zaid away and running from him has always come so easy to me. Too easy, if I'm being honest. But letting him slip through my fingers, that's something I've never been able to accomplish.
I knew you were going to do this to me, little mouse. I've always known it was going to come to this,
He says softly. I'm a mass of confusion and heart-pounding dread. What are you... Before I can finish, he tilts my hips up just enough to slam me down on his cock, driving himself inside me at the same moment. Despite how turned on I am, it's never enough to prepare for his size. My back bows, the leather belt holding my throat hostage, just as a strangled cry releases, quickly carried away with the wind. Zaid tips his head back, a deep growl building in his chest. He presses me deep into the tree, grasping my hip in a bruising hold, steadily sinking his cock, deeper and deeper until I'm unable to take any more of him. I let out another choked cry, sensations unfurling from where we connect and throughout my entire being. The rough bark digs into my skin, but I hardly notice when he's invading my body so thoroughly. The hand holding my hip slides up to my stomach, his fingers digging into my skin.
Would this being swollen with my child make you stay?
He asks darkly, then groaning as if overcome with bliss from the thought. My mouth parts, my attention split between his almost threatening words and the way he's moving inside of me. Somewhat of a response, but it sounded more like a moan. Maybe one day, I squeak out, almost coughing when the belt constricts against my windpipe. He withdraws to the tip, then seats himself completely inside me, his pelvis grinding into mine. I choke, and my eyes nearly roll from how full I am. Hot breath fans across my ear, and it feels like a warning.
I wasn't asking permission, baby. Would you stay or would you run off with my child?
I'm so disoriented by his line of questioning, it takes me a moment to catch up. My heart drops and I gasp, both from his implication and from him grinding against me again, his pelvis stimulating my clit just the right way. I have the IUD, I say. It would be difficult to tamper with that, not unless he physically pulled it from my body.
Do you?
He murmurs, his deep voice low and challenging. He poses the question in a way that suggests he knows the answer to that question better than I do. My nails dig into his shoulders, and when realization begins to set in, I push at him. Of course, he resists against me, a steel fortress that even a nuclear bomb couldn't crumble. You didn't, I snap.
You sleep so heavily sometimes,
He responds, pressing deeper into me as I try to shove him back. He slides out again before slamming into me once more, drawing a mix between a moan and an enraged gasp. Zaid, I warn, voice shaking. He groans against me, now steadily fucking me.
Will it make you stay?
He questions again. I turn my head toward him, training my glare on him, despite the cyclone of pleasure swirling deep in my stomach. Taking in my expression, the fucker has the audacity to smile. You're not asking if a baby will make me stay. You're asking if I'd stay if you forced a pregnancy on me. I bite out. The hand supporting our weight against the tree slides down until it's leaning on the belt strap, causing it to tighten and cut off my air supply. I choke, but he doesn't let up. His eyes are wild, and it's now I wonder how my words could affect him so deeply. He does the worst things sometimes, and yet here I am, wrapped around him even as he threatens me.
Am I still worth loving, little mouse?
He asks, through gritted teeth. I attempt to swallow, but it gets stuck in my throat. Fuck. The asshole really brings out the worst in himself. And he does it without any remorse, bearing all those dark parts on a silver platter, challenging me on if I'm going to accept it or not. Darkness slicks at the edges of my vision, but I give him the truth. I nod my head, answering both of his questions. He is worth loving, and I would stay. He relents on the belt, and I cough, sucking in air desperately, though it's useless. Any oxygen I collected in my lungs is punched out of me when he increases his pace. The hand on my stomach, gliding down until his thumb reaches my clit, circling the bud until my eyes roll. I'm not ready to have children. I've never been ready for anything Zaid throws my way. Yet, it doesn't stop me from meeting his thrusts, an orgasm forming low in my belly.
You'll never escape me, little mouse. Do you think anyone could ever make your pussy cry the way I do?
He angles his hips, hitting that spot inside of me that has me clenching around him. I shake my head, incapable of speech. The only thing I can do is claw at him, scraping my nails across his back and gouging deep red cuts into his skin as he has done mine. Growling deep in his chest, he gnashes his teeth.
I dare you, Adeline. Deny that my name isn't carved into every star you see when I make you come, and I will show you that a god can create them just as easily as he can destroy them.
The knot in my stomach tightens to its breaking point, and my moans turn into hoarse screams as he brutally fucks me against the tree, continuing to circle my clit with his thumb. The belt around my throat digs into my skin, confining my windpipe just enough to send blood rushing to my face. Only you, I mumble, the words lost inside the sounds of pleasure tearing past my lips.
That's it, Adeline. Now take my cum like a good little girl.
My back bows, and I erupt, crying out from the sheer force of the orgasm tearing through me. I feel myself clench around him, his cock spearing through my tightening pussy with a force that rivals the pleasure consuming me. My vision snuffs out like the sun behind a moon during a solar eclipse. His darkness devours my light, and I decide I'm content living in the shadows. His palm slams next to my head, and with one final thrust, he explodes with a deep growl. Grinding his hips against mine, he empties himself inside me, cursing beneath his breath until the last drop is wrung out of him. Several minutes pass, and both of us slowly come back down and catch our breaths. Well, he's catching his breath. I'm still struggling for mine due to the belt around my throat. He grins when he notes how red my face is. I can feel it burning beneath his stare. Reaching around, he unclasps the buckle and the belt drops a second later. My ribcage protrudes from how deeply I inhale, feeling like I'm taking the first breath after drowning for so long. That was how I once described what Zaid's love felt like, and it's never felt truer until now. As I'm still drinking in the precious oxygen, he grips my jaw between his fingers and forces my gaze to his.
Never again, Adeline. I could take you pushing me away when you were still discovering how you felt for me, but not anymore. That was your last time. Understand?
I nod, shame reigniting. Yes, never again. I'm sorry, I croak, wrapping my arms tightly around his neck. But I hope you know I'm always going to run from you. I like the way you chase me. He bites his lip, the heat in his eyes flaring. Leaning forward, I kiss him softly, praying he can feel just how much I mean it. His hand dives into my hair, amplifying the sweetness to something more savage. But too soon, he's pulling away. I chase after him, stealing one more before he sets me down, supporting me while my legs grow accustomed to holding my weight again. They shake fiercely, and I just know the dickhead's ego is ballooning again.
Need a wheelchair, baby?
I sniff and mutter, "No," affronted by his big-ass head. They're just tired from you making me run. He chuckles, knowing damn well how untrue that is. But I smile back, and I realize that I like the way Zaid laughs as much as I like the way he punishes me.
How are they going to feel when you're 9 months pregnant and I'm chasing after you?
I tighten my lips, but then smile with victory when I realize I'm not even ovulating. When I tell him so, he only smirks.
I didn't take out your IUD.
He says, bending to gather our clothes. My mouth drops open. Then what the fuck was all that? He shrugs, still grinning as he pulls on his jeans and glances at his phone before tucking it away again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm fucking relieved, but what the shit, Zaid?
I need you to be sure you're 100% in this with me. A baby is the only thing that could permanently tie your life to mine. Legally, at least. Ethically, well, I will always be in your life whether you know I am or not.
Shaking my head, I tug my jeans up my body, the coarse fabric rubbing painfully against the welts on my legs. My shirt doesn't feel much better. Yeah, whatever. I mumble. You're a dick. He laughs again, accepting that statement without even a hint of shame. He pivots to walk back toward Parsons Manor, but I grab his hand, turning him back to me. No more lies, I say. From either of us.
Baby, I never lied. I never actually said that I took out your IUD.
You still made me believe that you did, I argue. He grins wickedly at me, one side of his lips tipping up.
When I do get you pregnant, you will know about it.
He promises, though it sounds like another threat.
You will watch me pull the IUD from your body myself.
That oddly makes me feel better. And I need therapy. I sigh. You're always going to be a creep, aren't you?
And my being a creep is always going to make your pussy wet. Let's get back. Jay tried calling and it might have something to do with Claire.
All right, and that has been Haunting Adeline chapters 39 and 40. Woo! A little bit of, if you know what I mean, goodness. But that's going to be the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much. Love you all. I appreciate you. I will see you on Friday if you're on Patreon, and I'll see you on Sunday if you're the free 99 people. Love you guys all. See you later, and peace.